Wait, the Kansas City Chiefs signed a backup quarterback and he didn't play for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2010s? They're allowed to do that? Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Garrett, and I represent the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about this team behind me right here, the Kansas City Chiefs, as they have upgraded at the backup quarterback position. They need someone to back up Patrick Mahomes, and they have that person because according to multiple reports, Carson Wentz, the former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs on a one-year deal. Carson Wentz, about to enter his 9th season in the NFL, played his first 5 seasons in Philadelphia, nearly won the MVP in 2017 before he got hurt, led the Eagles to a number 1 seed, and then obviously Nick Foles finished the deal. Then he played for the Indianapolis Colts, played for the Washington Commanders, and last season played for the Los Angeles Rams, and now he is on his 5th team in the last 5 years, joining the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a move that makes a lot of sense for Kansas City. I'm going to break down why in this video. Long story short, the Chiefs need a backup quarterback. The Chiefs badly need a backup quarterback, and you're not drafting a quarterback. Andy Reid always likes having a veteran as the backup quarterback behind Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes became the starter in 2018, and ever since then, a veteran has backed up Mahomes. We saw that with Chad Henne. We saw that with Blaine Gabbert. Like I said, the Chiefs are not huge on drafting quarterbacks. Mahomes was the last quarterback that they drafted in any round, and that was back in 2017. Andy Reid has been with the Chiefs since 2013. The only other quarterback that the Chiefs have drafted besides Mahomes in the last decade plus since Reid got there was Aaron Murray out of Georgia in 2014. So 2 quarterbacks in more than a decade. That tells you everything you need to know. On top of that, Brett Veach has been the GM since 2017. No quarterbacks drafted besides Patrick Mahomes in any round. So they like having a veteran as the backup for Mahomes, and makes complete sense to why they were looking at a guy like Carson Wentz to be that option. There was some speculation, maybe it could be Ryan Tannehill, maybe it could be another veteran, but they land on Wentz. And here's the thing. Yes, they had Blaine Gabbert as the veteran last year. They could have easily gotten him back if they wanted to in 2024, but he showed absolutely nothing. Chad Henne as the backup quarterback was as good of a backup quarterback as you could ask for. Really, you couldn't ask for a whole lot more than what Chad Henne gave you. He played decent when given the opportunity. You had that game against Cleveland in the divisional round during the 2020 season, where he had that huge run on 3rd down and then completed that pass on 4th down. Played well when Mahomes got hurt. Also had that divisional round game where he drove the Chiefs 98 yards down the field when Mahomes got hurt. I don't remember what team it was against. I don't need anyone to remind me in the comments who that game was against. But if you do know, just keep that in mind. Chad Henne did have that performance. Other than that, though, Blaine Gabbert showed absolutely nothing when he became the backup after Chad Henne retired. Last season, Blaine Gabbert, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 51.4% completion, which is abysmal, and a 31.2 passer rating, which is worse than if he did nothing, but spiked the ball into the ground on every single play. It's about 8 points lower than what your rating would be at 39.6. Gabbert looked like crap all season. That game against Chicago early in the season, when he came in for the second half because the Chiefs built up such a big lead, he looked awful. He threw 2 interceptions. Then he started week 18 because the Chiefs had locked up the number 3 seed. They had nothing to play for, and the offense did not move the ball whatsoever in that game against the Chargers. Yes, they did win that game, but that was in spite of Gabbert, not because of him. Like I said, 31.2 passer rating, and for some perspective on how bad that is, there were 64 quarterbacks to attempt at least 25 passes in 2023. You're looking at all of them right now. Now, the median is 86. The lowest on the list, not counting Gabbert, was Brett Rippon on the Los Angeles Rams, who was not very good, 49.5 passer rating. So you see the chart, you see where all these quarterbacks stack. Obviously, the better your passer rating, the better you are. Now, let's add Blaine Gabbert to the list. He's in a completely different stratosphere. He's in a class all by himself. He's in a league of his own, and not in a good way. He was 18 points lower, more than 18 points lower in passer rating than the next worst guy in football. You could not have Blaine Gabbert as the backup quarterback, the next man up if Patrick Mahomes goes down, or if anything were to happen to Mahomes. You cannot bring him back. So if you need a veteran quarterback, obviously Carson Wentz not great anymore, but he can't be any worse than Blaine Gabbert. For some more perspective, the last quarterback to have 25 or more passes in a season and have a passer rating that low, a rating below 32, was Nathan Peterman on the Buffalo Bills in 2018, which was the first year that Mahomes was the starter. If you're the first guy to do something since Nathan Peterman, odds are it's not good. If you're the first guy to do something since Nathan Peterman, odds are you did something absolutely horrible that was an abomination on the eyes and was a disgrace to the game and made people wonder why the forward pass ever existed. So, couldn't bring Blaine Gabbert back. I don't know where he's going to wind up. He's still a free agent. I'm not sure if he's done. He might be done because I don't know after last season if any team is going to necessarily want him. But Carson Wentz, the backup quarterback, played with the Rams last season, started that Week 18 game against the 49ers. The Rams really had nothing to play for in that game, and Wentz looked good in that one. 17 for 24, 71% completion, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 99.8 passer rating. At the very least, he was a way better backup option than Brett Rippon. You can obviously see that. And again, entering his 9th season in the NFL, 153 career touchdowns, 22,000 career yards. Now, the Chiefs, with their quarterback room, they've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is the 1. Carson Wentz obviously going to be the 2. You were not going to go into the season without a veteran backup and then have Chris Oladokun and Ian Book battling it out for quarterback 2. And again, you weren't going to draft a guy, so you had to get a veteran backup. Because if you had Oladokun and Ian Book battling it out for the backup behind Mahomes, that is the worst backup quarterback situation in all of football. Those are 2 guys on reserve/future contracts. So obviously not a lot of faith there. In terms of what this means for the quarterback room, in terms of who makes the roster, it's interesting because they're more likely to keep 3 quarterbacks than 2 on the 53-man roster if you look at the history that Brett Veach has had and that Andy Reid has had. But in 3 of the last 4 years, they've kept 2 quarterbacks on the roster instead of 3. So Veach has been there for 7 seasons, entering his 8th season as the GM of the Chiefs. He's kept 3 quarterbacks on the roster 4 times, but 3 of those times were 2017, 2018, and 2019. In 2020, 2021, and 2023 last season with Mahomes and Gabbert, the Chiefs only kept 2 quarterbacks on the roster. So you figure, based on this signing, that obviously Patrick Mahomes is your starter, Carson Wentz will be the backup, and then you have Ian Book and Chris Oladokun battling it out for a spot on the practice squad with the loser getting cut, and I'm not sure they ever wind up playing in the NFL ever again or getting an opportunity. They might have to go up north to Canada, might have to play a year in the UFL, but I figure that for Ian Book and Chris Oladokun, it's going to be a very interesting battle because for one of them, you figure their NFL career, at least for the moment, might be over for whoever loses the battle because I'm not sure anyone else would necessarily sign him or bring him onto their practice squad. And the Chiefs are obviously not keeping 4 quarterbacks on their roster when you combine the 53-man roster and the practice squad. So something to keep in mind after this signing. The pressure is definitely on. Their NFL careers are in jeopardy. But again, Carson Wentz, very solid backup option, even if he's not the guy that he once was. At the very least, he might not win you games, but at the very least, he's not going to lose you games like Blaine Gabbert had the potential to do. At the very least, he can move the ball down the field, which is more than Blaine Gabbert could. And at the very least, Carson Wentz has potential at this stage in his career, unlike Blaine Gabbert, who was declining and who was absolutely terrible last year. We had a feeling the Chiefs are going to upgrade at backup quarterback after Blaine Gabbert was garbage last year, and they've definitely done that by adding Carson Wentz. But what are your thoughts on this move? Do you like the move for the Chiefs? Do you like the move for Carson Wentz? Do you think it's a good fit? Do you think the Chiefs will still draft a quarterback? Do you think this changes their draft plans in the slightest bit? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for this episode of JG9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, Jaguar9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.